Okay, what we're going to talk about tonight is many different kinds of hang-ups or problems, negative self-styles. So we'll write that on the board. I always use the NSS, negative self-style. And this is going to sort of answer the question about why would one person choose one negative style and another one choose another negative style? And because we want to talk about it, a lot of the ones that you usually hear when you're helping people. And we'll show you prerequisites for someone adopting a negative self-style. First thing we need to say is that a negative self-style is a love substitute. And no person will start out as a child with negative self-styles if they're getting enough of the love supplies that come off of the chart that we gave you, the 6 love supplies. So negative self-styles are so many things like pleaser, rebel, thumb-sucking, bedwetting, hostile, poor me, this, that. A lot of the things that underreacting and overreacting. And those styles are sought by kids because there's not enough of the right love supplies in their life. So the prerequisites, these are some of the things that have to happen before we start a negative style or a game that people play. You all remember about overreacting negative styles would be what? Yelling, screaming, hitting, all these things that are overreacting. And then underreacting would be shy, recluse, isolation, hermit, go keep to yourself, those kinds of things. Doormat, pleaser. So before someone adopts a negative style, there has to be insufficient love supplies, which means that being themselves is not good enough. Real self is not good enough. Real selves are not honored. They're not reinforced. It's not safe to be your real self or feel your inner feelings. And so they go to a fake self. And these are the ways the fake self are identified. So if a kid has a hang-up of some kind, bedwetting, thumb-sucking, lying, yelling, screaming, hitting, slapping, crying, being shy, not talking, being a pleaser, being a rebel, you'll know that there's not enough or the right kind of love supplies in their family. And that doesn't mean that parents are bad. They just don't know any better. Lots of parents say, I did the best that I could with the knowledge I had. And very often, the way a parent does to his children or her children is going to be a repeat of their own childhood. So, and we won't even know it. So there's going to be insufficient love supplies. Number 2, kids will copy hang-ups that are allowed by the parents. So one time a mother said, Jill has a dirty room. And I just think that's horrible that she's such a slob. And I said, well, let's see what we can do here. Does Jill go to the bathroom on the living room carpet? Oh, no, I'd punish her severely. Well, so you don't have any children that do that? No. You don't. Because you don't allow it. But do you allow dirty rooms? Yeah. I have a dirty room myself. So it's what do the parents allow? And what do they disallow? See? And this, of course, goes to the next one, which is what do the parents model? If a parent yells and screams and hits, and argues and looks for evidence against everything that's said, they're modeling that kind of a hang-up. If a parent is a pleaser, they're modeling that. Often you have a mother who is a pleaser and a father who is a rebel. And these are modeled to the children. And the children will copy those, and they'll often alternate those styles. I think we talked once before, but we'll say it again. If a lady has a boy baby and her husband is a bossy, chauvinist pig, yeller, screamer, hitter, controller, this little boy could copy his dad's negative style, negative self-style. Say that she has another boy 2 years later, and he tries to copy this style. This one won't let him because he needs it for his love substitutes. He will stop this kid from doing it. So then the kid will look around for a substitute love style, and he may copy mom's, which is pleaser, doormat, achiever. He'll get real good grades in school. This one will rebel. This one may be an athlete, this one not, and on and on. Now, what will happen if she has a girl? Where you have a girl next to a boy, she also could be a pleaser because she's so different being a girl that he'll let her. Another thing that allows this is the closeness of the children in birth order. So if you get pregnant every year and a half, whether you want to or not, you're going to have a lot more sibling rivalry than if you wait a few years, because the kids can get their love supplies and monopolize the mother's love supplies for 2 or 3 years before the next one comes. So lots of studies show that the closer the kids are together, the more the sibling rivalry, which means fighting, and kids competing for a scarcity of love supplies. And I think all of you have heard about scarcity versus abundance. And in homes where there's scarcity of love supplies, the kids have to fight. And what causes a scarcity of love supplies? The parents weren't loved properly when they were little. They married each other to get love. And then lots of things happen so that the love supply from the spouses decreased. So the mother and father turned to the child for love supplies. And that makes it even worse because the kids don't have any to give. You're supposed to nurse the baby, not suck on it. So that makes things even worse. So sibling rivalry and fighting between children is so common in scarcity families where there's not enough love supplies. So what's modeled and how's it going to work? And when do people alternate and when do they copy? And so it's birth order, the closeness of the sexes, and the closeness of the children. So that means a lot about what kind of a hang-up you'll copy. You may go through your family, your siblings, when you were little, and ask which children might have been pleasers, which children might have been rebels, where is your number? And the way you do this is, like, Peggy, what number of child are you in your family?
4.
Number 4 out of?
4.
So she is the last child, 4 out of 4. What's your number?
3 out of 3.
3 out of 3. And she's the last child. And?
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Next to last. Jean?
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
3 out of 4.
See? You're at number 2.
And I'm in opposite. I had a brother and then
Yeah. And you start looking at these and find out what styles your siblings have, and if they're a boy or a girl, and see if you follow the rule of alternating styles if you're the same sex and if you're close together, and not alternating, copying if it's, you have a question?
what if it's a large family?
That's a good,
11 out of 12.
that's,
6 children died.
that's a good question, 11 out of 12, because in large families, the older siblings become the junior parents. And so then you have to look at that and have a whole new dynamic. But the thing that's very interesting to do if you're in counseling or wanting to improve is to do some of this. Take a look at your birth order and see how close the kids were together Were you close to the next sibling up? Were you not? Did you have to fight? Did you have to rebel? And you'll learn a lot about your styles, the ones you chose. And also take a look at making a list of your negative styles and see if they copied your mom's negative styles or your dad's negative styles, and see which parent you might have copied, which modeling you copied. How many know if your negative styles are more like your mother or your father? Good. And so writing down what they did and then looking at yours. In a few minutes, we're going to talk about these case studies on pornography patients. And you're going to be able to see what happened between the mother and the son and the father and the son. And you're going to see how this works. The neat thing when you study these is that they function by orderly law. It's not a chance, happenstance thing, the kinds of hang-ups you learned when you were little. And so when you learn the laws, then you can do something about it. You're not shy by chance, you see. You're not outspoken by chance. It functions according to orderly laws, just like real selves do and negative selves do. So you don't have to say, well, you can almost predict, this kid's going to be a pleaser because he's a boy and his brother's a rebel and they're close together. He needs something of his own. Another question?
In my family story, my mom had 4 kids in 4 years. I'm the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm a pleaser. Absolutely.
Yeah, and is your mom a pleaser?
Oh, absolutely.
So she said, my mom had 4 kids in 4 years, and she was the first one. She was 1 out of 4, that's her number. And she copied her mom, who was a pleaser to dad and to everyone else. And then the next one, it's a boy. Was he a pleaser or a rebel?
A rebel.
And did he copy his dad?
Yeah.
See? So there's lots of things. Which parent do you copy? Model the parent that you copied. And sometimes it goes with the same as your gender. The boys will copy dads, the girls will copy moms. But other times it's just the opposite. And then we have this concept of predominant parent. Predominant parent. What's a predominant parent? The boss, right? We also have studies that ask which kid will go with which parent in a divorce if they get the choice. And there's 3 things that predict this, and you'll see the same thing. The kids will go with the parent they feel sorriest for. So if a mom is having an affair and the dad is heartbroken and he's home weeping all alone, kids will succor him and rescue him and stay with him, especially daughters. So the wounded parent is the one the kid will often choose to rescue and to help. The other factor is which parent is staying in the family home. That's a big one. Kids will choose the family home because it's their security, their friends are in the neighborhood, and their schools. And another one is, will they identify in the genders? So the boys will stay with the dad, the girls will stay with the moms. And then there's the age factor. Younger children will usually go with the mom. So these are known things. There's 4 or 5 factors in these choices. I know a man who had 3 boys. He stayed with the home. The mom went off with another man, and all the 3 boys stayed with him because they felt so sorry for dad. And dad played a hard game for me, and the mother was leaving him in the home because she didn't want to hurt the kids, and they went with the dad. And it was years before they would come and see her as a good woman and not having done anything bad. What causes a man or a woman to go off with another person?
My experience is that sometimes they do it just to see if they can get away with something.
Yeah, they do it to see if they can get away with it. They do it because they're love-starved. Divorces happen long before they go to court. People have been divorced in their hearts for years. There's people that are an affair about to happen because they're love-starved, right? So they don't just happen out of the clear blue sky. So saying, well, it was all his fault. Well, it was all her fault. That is a very stupid statement, because when you get into it, you find out that it's usually 50-50 or 40-60 or something close. It's never all one person and not the other. And kids seem to sense that. Okay, so hang-ups are chosen because there's insufficient love supplies. What's allowed by the parents? What's modeled by the parent? Which parent do you identify with? And then which one is the predominant parent, that is the boss? And those things have a lot to do with the hang-ups that you choose. Now, I think we made this statement last time, but let's do it again in case we left it out. No person is 100% rebel or 100% pleaser. Did we make this last time? And we said all pleasers have a place where they rebel. All rebels have a place where they please. Now, the great thing that we said last time is that these negative self-styles are learned and they can be unlearned. And I would lots rather be a parent that says these things are learned and they can be unlearned, rather than a parent that says, when she was 8, she fell off of a swing. And a swing went up like that, came back and hit her on the back of the head, and she's brain damaged. Because would you rather have your kid brain damaged and she can never change? Or would you rather say, no, don't cut the baby in half. I caused her to be like this because I was in my negative self. I fought with John the whole time, and because that shows that you love the child and there's hope. And so it's much better to say, no, this is psychological. She copied it from me. I was depressed for years. She doesn't have bipolar depression at all. She's up and down just like I would. And so it's better to do that than say, she has a genetic thing, she has a chemical imbalance, this is caused by hormones in the womb, and blah, blah, blah. See? So then there's some hope. People don't like to hear. I have a girl that's been called fetal alcohol syndrome. You know what that is? The mother was drinking during the pregnancy. So she just hates people to say that about her. Why? She could never escape. The way I am is caused by my mother's drinking when she was pregnant with me, and I can never get well. Now, how would you like that? No. Instead of, well, we don't believe in stuff like that. And if you want to work as hard as you can, there's freedom within structures, and you can be the happiest fetal alcohol syndrome person in the whole world. Okay. So we like hope. We like the message of hope and optimism rather than pessimism. You're stuck forever because you're brain damaged. Okay, so take a look at these psychological causes of why we choose what we choose and see how it works in your own case. And there's a good example of this